What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. A little bit of dueling book today, showing off my Water XYZ deck one more time. I'm going to show two more test hands after, and then I'm going to do my updated list. If you go off my last list from the last time I did a video on the deck profile for this, which I think was the complete guide, that deck list is fine. I just made a few changes, so if you're curious to know what my most recent, updated list looks like, I'm going to show it in this video. So I'm going to be playing against Blackwing. This is just casual. Obviously, it's a casual deck. And he opens up with Shamal, Fogblade, Whirlwind, Simoon, and Ash. Okay. I have Called By, Arm Sage, Silent Angler, Crossout Designator, and White Mirror. I kind of meh, to be honest with you. I really only have one line of play. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out, he's going to try to Ash, obviously. I run Crossout and Called By, because the only thing that's stopping his deck is cats. Super Poly too, but if your deck can play around Super Poly, then you're probably just meta anyways. Okay, so I can go ahead and go into Utopia here. There was a line of play where I could go into, like... No, I guess I really didn't have it on die. Fair enough. Alright, so I can go ahead and go into, Utopia Force, which is going to rank me up into number 99. And then just, go ahead and detach a couple materials to go ahead and bring out my number 90. So that's Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. And I can go ahead and patch over, set Crossout Designator. During my opponent's draw phase, I can go ahead and use number 99 there. Bring out a Hope Harbinger. Now, this obviously isn't like a great end board. It's battle protected, which is nice. For like multiple different ways. Whether it be, number 38s or anything. But, if my opponent, if their big kind of board breaking card was like Crossout Designator, this would obviously be like pretty good. So he's going to start with Shamal. So that's fine with me. That's going to go ahead and set the new Black Feather Whirlwind. I think it just like brings something back from the graveyard. It's a soft once per turn. He's going to activate, Whirlwind now, like the regular one. And I figure, well, look, I kind of have to negate this. What other like spell card even is there? I don't even think there's any. So I think he ends up just like swooping here. And we're going to go on to game 2. I actually have a line of play, I think, to win this duel in game 2. So... I'll have to take a look. I remember, like, after it was over, I'm like, there had to have been a way for me to do this right. I already know one of my mistakes was really... I still don't understand what I was thinking. Like, nothing. I just made a bad misplay. So he's going to go ahead and normal summon Sudri. So this lets you add a Blackwing card, or a card that mentions Blackwing Dragon. I know there's, like, a trap card that synchros during your opponent's turn. I'm pretty sure it does mention that. So I feel like if I'm going to Ash anything, like the idea is like, oh, maybe I don't need to because I have Dark Ruler. Like, why waste infinite impermanence? But I don't know. I figure if I can stop him from doing searching the trap card, then, this card just becomes a little bit better. And then I can go ahead, or he's going to special in Vada. Vada, I think Foolish Burial's 2, and then attributes itself and brings out a Blackwing Dragon. Such a cool card. The art for this card is incredible. And he's going to go ahead and use the effect of Zephyros the Elite. Again, it's a soft once per turn. Then he's going to go ahead and go into Raid Raptor Y-Strix. I feel like there had to have been a better line for him somewhere in here. Especially if he's playing Rusty, which I think he is. So he's going to go ahead and go into Rusty. And he's going to attempt to link off a couple. I think he wants to do the effect of Rusty first. I'm not really sure what difference it makes, but he's going to send a Cloak, and it just feels like trying to fit the package into these decks. Like, I only know it from Raid Raptor. I've honestly cut this. I think it's a little bit different for this deck because, threes are probably valuable for synchro summoning, but they're just kind of bricks. It's like you open up Fogblade 2, like... You're going second and you lose the dice roll. It feels so bad. But he's going to equip in there with Borload Savage Dragon, and then he's going to go to the end phase. So he's going to flip up Epidemic Virus, and I'm going to misplay this because he's calling spells. So, like, why would I not Why would I not chain crossout, chain forbidden droplets? You know, crossout can call out something that I don't need. You know what I mean? Instead, I just let it go through. I mean, because now that I'm looking at his hand, like, he really didn't have anything. If I was able to get rid of his board, I don't know what he'd be able to do. So I was going to try to go into Zeus here. But this Warlord Savage Dragon should be negated. Now, technically, I can go into a double pop Zeus and wipe his board now. Yeah, probably right. The only thing I was thinking is that I would force him to go into the battle phase. And that way we kind of have to waste it. Otherwise, I would just be able to use Zeus during any point during his turn. And he top deck Dark Ruler or more, so I'm just going to go ahead and scoop there. So, now it is my turn. So, a little bit of a... I think I really could have won that second duel, but opening up really well. Though I think I play this really, really wonky. So I get a free special summon there, and then I'm going to normal summon Lifeless Leaf Fish. This lets me Foolish Burial Fish. I should have every zone. When I'm done with this, I should have every zone filled with a monster, like, for sure. So, for some reason, this duel, like, lagged a little bit. I think it's because I was, like, my connection was, like, going bad. And then this keep going counts as, like, the next play. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and dump a Buzzsaw Shark with the Leafless Life Fish, which works really well with White Mirror. It gives me some good follow-up. Then I can use the effect of Buzzsaw Shark. Hopefully use the effect of Buzzsaw Shark. It's that keep going thing. There we go. I'm going to bring out a Silent Angler. So now this is something that I kind of want to look at here. What line of play could I have done better? So I can't go into Remora just quite yet. I don't have the zones, right? I'm going to be able to bring back 2. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my extra deck. And then I'm going to bring out probably the number 4. Makes sense. So then now I'm going to try to open my zones because I want to use XYZ Remora, right? Because I can bring these 2 back. Then I can go ahead and use the Lifeless Leaf Fish and the Utopia, the Sage to go into number 39, the effect to search the rank up magic spell. Go ahead and just try to fast forward here. And then I can go ahead and detach to it for XYZ Remora, bring back 2. Again, I'm taking a look at this. Yes, I can bring back 2. Is there any way I can play this differently? I don't think there is. So I'm going to go ahead and overlay here, go into Bahamut Shark, which is going to give me Toad, obviously. Toad effect, special summon, or Bahamut Shark effect, special summon Toad, I should say. And then, I haven't even gone up through the rank up magic stuff, so it just feels weird, right? I just feel like I could have played this differently. So now I just have these 2 bodies. Now this is like follow-up, right? Or at least it puts a lot of pressure on my opponent because I can just like put this back. But this is obviously just like sticking there. You would love to have all your zones filled with boss monsters. That's kind of the idea. But I guess you can't complain too much from where I'm sitting, especially going into game 3. One thing I noticed at the YCS, I'm not saying this is like a YCS winning deck though. Evenly Matched seems to be like the most popular going second card. This deck destroys like soft second. Like most decks in the meta don't produce Omni negates. They really, really don't. So if the best going second cards are like cards that just lose to Omni negates, like you're just gonna like blow your opponent right out of the water, obviously. And then, so this is what I have here. I have a number 4 Stealth Kragen Interruption, Ash, totally awesome, obviously. Hope Harbinger, and when I use the Toad, it's going to free up the zone, so I can use number 99, which isn't terrible. So I know this is the best starter, the Simoon, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm not going to take it. And then on a new chain link, right, tribute the Toad, use the effect of number 99, go into number 90, Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. So I still have 4 forms of interruption. And right, you can kind of just like play this out, but this would have also searched Galaxy Cyclone, which is awesome. So pretty much just like able to put up some insane stuff. If your opponent thinks that they're going to play through your board, like just using their engine, it's probably not going to happen. The deck is just too crazy like that, especially when you have something like Stealth Kragen on the board. This card's just absolutely nuts. I'm going to go over a couple of test hands. This hand is just absolutely buku bonkers, obviously. If you can set up this board, even if your opponent has Super Poly, that's probably just like not enough. So I can go ahead and special summon the Ascendant Sage. Free special summons here. Alright, I haven't even used my normal summon yet, so Buzzsaw Shark is actually online. Utopia Force, rank up. I'm going to go into, like, this is the 5th summon, unfortunately. It really sucks, doesn't it? Right? That's the 5th summon. Oh, you know what? Number 99 is the 5th summon. So, no, this doesn't play around Nibiru, but at the very least, I'm putting up an early monster negate, like pressuring my opponent to have it. Because then I can still normal summon Buzzsaw Shark, you know, bring out the Silent Angler, overlay into Bahamut Shark, detach material, go into my Toad, and then I can use Light Mirror. Like, this is just absolutely, it's just so crazy. Puts up some of the most, this reminds me of like Pendulum. I don't even know what those decks even were. Like those Agripane decks, those Chaos Agripane decks that put up just like literally like infinite negates. This is what it reminds me of. So I can go ahead and go into F0, number 90, 2 Omni negates, and then of course during my opponent's turn, I can attach a couple materials and go into number 38. It's literally like in a row. It's so cool. So if you like boss monsters, it's like this is the most fun deck you can ever play. That's all it is. You're just putting out big boss monsters. This is another just kind of crazy hand. So this, again, I love this card because it's a good pivot point. That's why I play a lot of like these one-up fish. Just because it's almost like you have extra copies of it. But it's almost like you want to see this because then you can summon out the appropriate one. So that just gives me a free body to come bring out. I can't use the effect of Lifeless Leaf Fish, obviously. But it's good to have it in rotation. Like White Mirror can bring it out. And it's like whenever it's summoned. Right? It doesn't have to be normal summoned. Because I already have Remora and Silent Angler. So I can go into number 4. The one good thing about this format is that Nibiru like doesn't seem to exist anymore, which is just great. Or less and less people are playing it, which is really one of the only main outs to this. You can make, there are some hands depending that you can make Toad on your 5th summon. So that's always good. And then of course you go ahead and cross out Designator too. Bringing out a Toad. Going into Ascended Sage here, because I have not special summoned Silent Angler yet. And this is just cool, right? I just get an F0 out of this. So again, just a full board of monsters. Special summon Silent Angler. Go into Utopia. Use the effect to search. Go into S39 on top of it. Go into number 99. Effect to detach a couple. Do special summon out a monster that's going to be Photon Lord. And then during my opponent's turn, you know, detaching that material as well. But during my opponent's turn, going into something like Hope Harbinger. Now, that's not the only target that you can go through. There's plenty of other ones. So that's really the point of me showing you the deck profile, which I'm about to do if my connection wants to connect. Also, in this test hand, pretty cool. I guess I opened an Effect Veiler, which is always nice. Always nice when you have Toad out because it just gives you follow-up, right? You just get to add pretty much whatever to your hand, but probably going to be Buzzsaw Shark because it's a 1 card, you know, rank 4. And then, like, the cool thing about this deck is these are the generic answers, right? Number 90 and number 38, Hope Harbinger. But there are, like, a lot of different numbered monsters, right? You get 1 through 99. And that's kind of where I'm going to show you here with this deck profile. So let's go ahead and take a look. Again, this is almost like 90% the same as the one I did before, but really I guess my side deck is what's changed the most. And I had this, I can't even remember the name of it now. It's just like Water Body that special summons itself by banishing a water. And you just don't like, I don't know, I just don't play enough waters in the deck that ended up justifying it. So this is kind of my final list as it is now. It's fairly consistent. And every once in a while you're going to brick super hard, but I would say, I don't know, I have a decent hand or at least a line of play probably 80% of the time, which I think is like all you can really ask for a deck like this. 2 Impermanent, 2 Ash, so it's obviously a crossout target, and also just something good to have. you know, in your deck. I've always liked this ratio, especially with crossout. This is like my favorite lineup right here. Effect Veiler, Ghost Ogre. So like Ghost Ogre like definitely kills you. This is probably something you can like exclude from the deck and replace some like other like popular hand trap right now. Although I can't really think of any off the top of my head. Ghost Ogre is like not terrible. Hits Sprite really good, right? You do it on Gigantic, and that's like not bad at all. So it is what it is, really, at the end of the day. And then Nibiru, right? You have to be able to play around Nibiru. Also, this card's like kind of sneakily good. Depends on how your opponent plays the Sprite hand. Like that's probably the biggest problem. But Tyr like definitely plays into Nibiru and against any other random like actual other deck than the top 2 decks in the format. A lot of them play into Nibiru for sure. 3 Beautiful Princess. Again, this card is a lot of the times goes into Buzzsaw, but if you have Buzzsaw in your hand, you get to special on Lantern Shark. If you have some like other means of getting this card out, you can always go into Lifeless Leaffish. You kind of saw that in one of the replays that I did. So that's just kind of how that works. So this card is just very, very good. Like hopefully again you like have some sort of protection for it, because if this just gets like ashed most of the time, that's like churn ending, which really sucks. But it's a risk that you kind of have to take, especially in a format where less and less people are playing regular hand traps. 3 Buzzsaw Shark. It's a free 4 from the deck, which can do so many crazy things, especially with White Mirror. It's just very good. Lantern Shark is just an additional special summon from the hand. Crystal Shark is a free special summon. I've talked about this card a lot. It can only be used for the XYZ of a number monster, but you know the 2 most important number monsters in your deck, which are number 4 and you know number 39. So you have plenty of targets to use with Crystal Shark. It's a very good card. Lifeless Leaffish is a Foolish Burial, which is like just good to have another thing to use with White Mirror. You can do so much with it too. It's great. Especially like if you normal summon this, you know, throw XYZ Remora into the graveyard, bring it back out or bring it to your hand, overlay into, you know, Stealth Kragen, bring those 2 bodies back. Like there's just, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's good stuff. Silent Angler, 3 of it's like it's just a free special summon, never a bad thing. 2 XYZ Remora. This card is just buku bonkers when it goes off. And there's like, if you play the deck long enough, you'll just definitely be able to. Always a great interaction with Stealth Kragen, which doesn't need materials at all. So if you can just go into an early 4 and you have XYZ Remora, you just get 3 rank 4s for free essentially. Arm Sage, again, I don't know if I've mentioned this in this video, but someday I hope that these are replaced by better fish, because I think it would just work so much better, especially with like White Mirror. I've had so many times where I've had these 2 cards in my hand. It's the reason I bricked. It's not horrible because it is just literally a free like level 4. It's one of the best level 4 extenders like in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Period. So it's like not that it's bad, but if it just, you know, you'd hope that there's a new fish that comes out at some point that doesn't waterlock you. Ascended Sage, this is like the card that you want to open. Again, it's just a free body always on top of things, and it just gets your combo started off. Called by the Grave and the crossout designator, Dark Ruler No More. Forbidden Droplets you can probably, take out. It's technically a crossout target, technically, if your opponent doesn't discard a spell, which I guess you technically never know. So, you know, this is what it is. This has always been kind of an iffy card to have in the main. Although I probably can win you some duels at some point. Especially if you have like White Mirror in your hand or something. And you could like pitch one of your sharks, bring it back, add an extra copy. That'd be like wildly good. So there are scenarios where it works. Galaxy Cyclone is something that you want to attach to, you know, your Photon Lord during your opponent's turn. Because then the effect of Photon Lord becomes destruction and not just a regular negate like Borreload Savage Dragon, for example. And then once it goes to the graveyard, if your opponent has Mystic Mine later in the duel, it's an out to Mystic Mine. It's always good to have at least 1 in the main deck. Utopia Force. And if you can't get this in the graveyard, like if your opponent's playing like pure Mystic Mine or something, which is like a kind of a random example, you can actually just normal summon Crystal Shark. It's a level 5. So if you have Photon out there and you haven't used this card yet, it's kind of the way to get around it. Utopia Force is just a really, really good rank up magic spell. 2 Prod of Prosperity. You definitely want to dig into your deck. It helps with consistency. When you use Prod of Prosperity, you are going to banish 1 Totally Awesome, 1 Blaze Dragon, and 1 Bahamut Shark. It's always like the 3 perfect cards. you know, to get rid of. I've done so much practice with it. I've never had a scenario where it wasn't those 3. White Mirror is such an, it's just wild. Brings something back and adds an extra copy, which helps with Remora. You know, if you like normal summon this, you haven't used the effect yet. Of course, Silent Angler is like the poster child of it. You can bring back Buzzsaw Shark, add an extra copy, and then use Buzzsaw, Shark effect. And again, that's why I hope that someday there are 2 fish that are like better that I can use to replace this. And then Reinforcement in the Army is another copy. You want to see this as much as possible. Or you could also get another free extender if you already have this in your hand. The card's just very good. On to the extra deck. Nothing too wild here. So 2 Bahamut Shark, 2 Toad. Thank goodness the ban list did not bring down Toad, and I don't think it ever will now. So this deck is like very playable. This is definitely a deck I'm going to be playing, you know, at some point in this format. If Super Poly's ever banned, it's definitely probably the deck that I will actually play, because it's just too popular right now, and like your opponent's going to draw it. So if Super Poly's not around, like that would be so much better for me. And it looks like my internet just went out. So, that is something. I'm going to have to stall until my internet comes back. Here's my old replay. This is obviously very, very good. I wish I could show you some more replays, and I'm sure I did in my last combo tutorial of when I can make, you know, totally awesome before my opponent can drop it. It would just like trade 1 for 1. And then your Toad obviously gives you advantage, so it's not really trading 1 for 1. Saw plenty of things, you know, with Lifeless Leaf Fish. I did not have this in the deck before because technically it's another normal summon, but this also works really well with like Lantern Shark. So Lantern can normal summon, and if this is in your hand, you bring this out, and then when it's special summon, you can like send Crystal Shark, and then you can overlay the 2 for the what's it called? The Arm Sage, and then, you know, detach a couple materials, bring out the Sage, and then, you know, Crystal Shark can bring itself back, right? And you can only be used for number monsters, but luckily number 39, you know, is a number monster. And then you can just go through your plays like that. So plenty of like kind of random cool interactions that you can do. So again, I'm thinking like Super Poly does exist right now, you know what I mean? So what could they do to Super Poly? Well, you can go Garua here. You can go for Mud Dragon here. So yes, you're going to get rid of like 2 forms of interaction, which is obviously just like very, very good. But at the very least, I'm going to still have 3 interactions left. And he can't touch my Totally Awesomes. There's no connection there, you know, for it, which is awesome. Just for these 2. So the only cards that really, you know, there are a few cards that do beat this, like Dark Ruler no more, of course. But other than that, you know, Lava Golem would also kind of be one of those, but that fits in the same category, Super Poly. You got to be able to fight through all these other forms of interruptions too, and it's 2 of them are going to be Omni Negates, like regardless. Okay, so it looks like my connection went back on. My Wi-Fi is just so rough. Hopefully it connects, maybe, so I can finish this deck profile and show off my cool tech choices. There we go. All right, so the 2 Toad, 1 Zeus, of course, like this is your, you know, breaking boards going second card, which actually pairs really well with one of my favorite tech choices in the entire deck, Salamangreat Blaze Dragon. Probably never heard of this card before. If it would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you need attach material instead, so it kind of has that Din Girsu type effect, which is very useful for going into Zeus. Now, the other option is also Utopia, which you don't really want to, but it has worked before. This is a 2-pop Zeus if you need it. So that works, but most of the time, obviously, you're going to be using it to rank up into, you know, number 99 Dragonar. Talking about, you know, number 39 and S39 going into number 99. And other choices here, number 38, Hope Harbinger, Stealth Kragen, which is awesome. I don't know why I didn't have this card in my extra deck before. It's insane, especially because it doesn't need material, so it works like perfectly with Remora. Number 90 Galaxy, a Photon Lord is just a number 99 target. And then last, you know, I have my F-Zero cards here. And then, you know, Utopic Sage, you know, brings this out from the deck so I can search the rank up magic spell at any point in time, essentially. So this is where the side deck is, and this is where it gets a little interesting. So number 92, Hard Earth. This is the ultimate. If you're playing Labyrinth, you win. So your opponent's going second using Labyrinth. They're probably going to try to set 5 and then just work for your board that way. Opponent sets 5, end phase number 92. It's all banished. Like, this is just an auto win card against some decks. Eldlich is another example of this being an auto win against it. Truly, truly incredible. Abyss Dweller, it's a water, so that's pretty easy. You can also, it works pretty decent with Remora, right? This attaches materials. It doesn't have to attach 2 materials from like the same XYZ material or the same monster. It can be like from anywhere. So you could probably like leave 1 material on Dweller if you needed the extender for Remora. And that would be really cool. But of course, this is like the only card that gives you a chance, you know, against here. Same thing kind of here with number 90 or number 68. So you can attach materials as a number monster, so it can be brought out easily with number 99. Neither player can special summon from the graveyard. That's good against Sprite, of course. Tiered's like very good too, right? They can't use Alpha Effect or anything like that. And they can't use... One of the main deck monsters does bring itself back. So if you want to go super crazy against Tier, you can bring both of these cards out easily. And, you know, stop your opponent from essentially playing the game, you know, on their end. With all the issues who start stuff coming out, this is just an auto win card. So that's why I like to have this kind of diverse extra deck, you know, slot choices. Harpies, you know, 3 Lightning Storm, just kind of generic stuff. Magic or anti-spell fragrance. Usually what I'll do is I'll like take out Ghost Ogre. If my opponent doesn't seem like they're playing hand traps at all, it's kind of easy to tell. You know, you can take some of these out or take out 3 crossout designator, keep these hand traps in. You know, go for anti-spellers. It always depends on the matchup. You could also easily take out Forbidden Droplets and Dark Ruler or more. Although you probably at least want to keep this one in, you know, for your target for crossout designator. And speaking of crossout designator, Dimensional Barrier, you kind of just have to have that in the deck. Plus Dimension Shifter is also one of those. This deck actually doesn't really care about Dimension Shifter that much. It depends on the hand. But it's usually not like great. It's never like preferred for you to be under Dimension Shifter. So this is another target I think that'd be pretty good to replace, you know, with Ghost Ogre here. And then Evenly Match. I don't know if I went over this card. So this is just, it's just good blanketed against like any casual deck, or it's actually a pretty popular side deck choice right now too. For good reason. It's incredible with advantage. And I kind of talked about it earlier. The meta decks don't really have Omni Negates right now, like the best ones. It's really just a bunch of forms of interaction plus a lot of follow-up. That just becomes overwhelming for you to, you know, your opponent to do. So that's why Evenly Matched is played, to kind of even the playing field a little bit. Okay, so that is going to be the video for today. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.